Roll call. Bloom,
Here.
Wyland,
Here.
Thomas Gar,
Here.
Schaefer,
Here.
Stewart here. All right, I thought, before we go into public comment, if you guys would just indulge me for a minute and give a moment of silence for, the over 3,000 citizens and first responders that were killed on this day 22 years ago. And, in remembrance and, appreciation. Thank you very much. Public comment. Do you have anything, Carrie, tonight? Chair comments. We approved this last meeting, if you remember, it was the eligibility to hire list that we placed Cassidy Sayers on. We approved that, but I didn't have this document for us to initial next to our signature, so I thought I'd send those around. One's gonna go to Jason and one will stay in the file. That's the authority for Cassidy.
Okay.
Now, if you remember, we did Jordan Foos way back in the May meeting, contingent upon a number of things such as the background phase 1 and 2, and that has been completed. So that, Jason, is a good to go on an action for you on whenever you wanna officially get them on, if you haven't already.
Okay, not officially, no.
Okay. I did contact Diane and Betsy Mansell with regard to authority to place those two candidates on the board meeting tomorrow night to be officially ceremonially sworn in. So that'll happen tomorrow. I think it's gonna be put on during the president's report, if I recall.
I think so. It's up toward the front of the meeting.
Okay.
In the meeting.
All right, so yeah, if you wanna let your guys know, and of course, and did you get a hold of both those applicants to let them know?
I think I did, yeah.
Okay,
I'll have to double check. It's been a long week.
okay. All right.
Are you guys gonna be there to do the ceremonial pinning or?
I will, but I generally like to turf that to one of you guys, and then the ceremonial actual pinning. I think it's kind of neat if you ask someone from their family to do the pinning of the badge.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of something the family will remember forever. So, I kind of leave that up to you.
Okay.
All right. Other thing for comments, in the next month, I'd like commissioners to write me an email with any thoughts that you have with regard to PFC budget for next year. We traditionally, I can't remember, but I'll find out how much we had, COVID made training for us kind of go away. But I think now we can begin again to attend seminars, PFC type ed training for us. And there may be some thought that might be prudent to put in, request the village board, give us some money set aside for other purposes that you may deem appropriate. So think about that, and then if you could email me them and I'll forward them to, I guess it'd be FHR committee. I think Lon is in charge of that. And, with our requests for, money, not that, I know money's a hard issue in this town, but, not that they're gonna be, have a lot of extra, that's for sure. In that same vein, I think, as a commission, even though we know and we make clear every year, our responsibility has nothing to do with salaries or anything like that. The reality is, in about a year from now, this commission will be probably beginning its search for a new police chief. If we give it, for a year from now, if we take 4 or 5 months to try to find one. I am worried that the current police salaries in Port Edwards are not, close to being, police salaries in comparable towns. And, if you have any influence over any village board members, I would express that concern if I were you guys as well. Because you know what we're gonna end up doing? We're gonna jump through about 20 hoops and go through a lot of routines and, a lot of, processes to try to find our best chief. And then it may come down to the village can't afford who we think might be the right pick. So I'd almost like to prep that a little bit before we start working on that. So,
It's almost, if I can suggest that we're putting the cart before the horse, we should make sure that we approach the village board as they're preparing their budget for 2024. And tell public safety or FHR or whoever is responsible, I mean, unless you want to be embarrassed and frustrated by having applicants turn you down because you're not willing to pay them what the going rate for a command officer in a small town police department is, then you better put the money in the budget. You know, we went through that with the school board. When we hired the new superintendent, we discovered that we were paying Kyle like 50% below what the going rate was. And it was like, holy crap. And we had to dig deep and come up with more money to make sure that the new guy was at least close to being on par with what other people were getting in that position. And the same thing applies here.
yeah, I agree. And I plan on starting to plant those seeds.
Okay,
And we can
Okay.
only do the best we can.
Yep.
But, it is a kind of a, pretty tough process for us to, and I think, strategically, when we were looking for a police chief before, we intentionally left out the salary because we couldn't get a commitment from the village board on what to pay. And,
and that cost us applicants.
well, I don't think it did. I think it cost us potential applicants once they found out
Well,
the
yeah,
range.
Yeah.
So, it's a delicate line to walk. So, that's all I've got. Corey had produced minutes for August 7th. If there isn't any changes to those, I would be looking for a motion to approve and
So well, second,
moved by Bloom, second by Thomas Guard. Any comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. This is the month by statute that all PFCs are supposed to elect officers. Once a year, you go through that. It's the only time, interesting fun fact, it's the only time you can have a closed ballot. If you'd like. So, I guess what I'm looking for is anyone that's interested in taking the chair spot. I'm more than willing, hey,
seriously.
I'm more than willing
Oh,
to,
my.
trade positions. We have the chair, we have the vice chair, and we have a secretary. And I also, during this time, would like to ask if you guys would like to consider swapping up the police and fire department liaison members. Be happy to do that too.
We haven't really had a chance to, since you've been on.
No,
I
so
don't-
I'm happy where we're
I
at.
am happy with.
Only because we haven't had to do anything.
I've
and
done
you've had all the
too, I
work.
kind of feel like I'm an expert at it already.
Oh.
I have been conveniently gone twice in the last 6 months, so
I am
the
fine.
newbie gets stuck. So,
Okay, well, that, in reference to that, those assignments, that we'll keep them the way they are. How about,
do we need a motion? Just leave things as a status quo?
Well, I think you're gonna need a motion to,
Cast a unanimous ballot to remain as are?
I guess you could do it that way. Instead of in each individual office, you mean?
I think so.
Okay. That's fine.
All right, since I'm one of the people, I guess it would
So
be
moved.
you or her to make the motion, and
So moved.
Second.
motion by Corey, second by Andrea to cast a unanimous ballot maintaining current PFC officer positions.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
I,
That was quick. I don't know if I worked out the way I wanted it to.
Sound of sadness in here.
Correspondence, other than, Dylan's application, I don't have any, correspondence sent, to us. How about, Jason, you got anything for us on a fire chief monthly? Nothing new, nothing big?
Nothing major, no.
Okay, everything's going well.
Oh, yeah. Smooth sailing.
Okay. How about, Scott, anything PFC related or otherwise on the police side?
Yeah, the Guardian Act, no movement on that. I'm gonna try to hit up Jen Moore on the board, and I may pick Andrea's ear as well on potentially trying to do some more close to home grant style things. Ultimately, I'm not sure if we'll get any bite on the school resource officer, but I think it's at least worth exploring. And yeah, just trying to open my mind to more of that stuff. As far as like prepping the board with the budget, my initial budget included a slight pay raise for the chief, 5% cut from that for an SRO position, and a 5% cut to that wage for the officer position, which is apparently fairly standard. Again, I haven't gotten any feedback from the board yet, but that would be about an 18.8% raise for the patrol officers. And obviously another 76,000-ish for the SRO position. Even still with those numbers, I don't know. I mean, that gets us in the ballpark of some of the area agencies, but I did come out in our last public safety meeting and just said, just so you know, you're going to be recruiting a new chief in 2024, or hopefully you are. So we'll see how that goes.
Pending board feedback on the additional officer, specifically an SRO.
Mhm.
It's my impression that our eligibility list of 2 names
Mhm.
still suffices.
Correct.
Did we deadline that at all?
No,
I don't think we
think
did.
so.
Okay,
and I recall.
of course, it's unknown to any of us if those individuals are still willing or are interested.
correct.
Okay. When might you think you get feedback from the board as to approval of a position? If at all? Is that the budget process?
That's the budget.
When is the budget process over?
Well, we just started.
Yeah,
And so this budget process has been a little bit different than the other processes I've been involved with because we had a full-time administrator,
yeah,
or at least a more tenured temporary. So this was the first time where I actually like had to sit down and come up with numbers and just kind of throw it at them. And quite honestly, there wasn't much discussion in our first public safety meeting about it. I'm sure once they had a chance to take the materials home and read them, our next public safety, which is going to be the end of this month, I would assume that there's going to be some feedback. But again, my phone hasn't been blowing up saying, "Are you out of your mind?"
so do you and Jason both submit to public safety, but then it gets to Dwayne Dow? Then, eventually, because I haven't seen him at meetings.
In the past, I had worked with Dwayne or with, Boz. And ultimately it kind of went from there. I mean, Boz pretty much, does this look okay? Yeah, okay, and he ran with it.
Yeah,
So I'll be honest, I mean, it has to get through FHR before it gets to the full board.
yeah,
But I think before it gets kicked to FHR, public safety is gonna have their say in it. I know that Dwayne has been in and working on things 2 days a week.
Yeah.
My understanding is that I don't think he's gonna get involved with the budget.
okay. So
So
it's you guys,
along with public safety and then FHR.
you
To
guys
then
and
full
Ben will be meeting with these public safety, well, you guys,
Yeah.
Jason, public safety, and then the three of you probably individually with FHR. And so is that, like
Cumbersome.
November-ish?
Um, yeah, it'll be officially finalized in the first part of December.
Okay. All right.
So I think they do community open meeting before the board meeting in December.
Oh, that's right.
So like an
Feedback.
hour
Yeah,
before, yeah,
right.
And our fiscal year matches the calendar year, right?
correct,
For here it does.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
whatever they do doesn't take effect till the first anyway.
correct.
right. And I know Jason put in for a brush truck. I don't know how,
A rescue truck for.
a rescue, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
No, it's fine.
a rescue truck. You don't know how that is being received either.
No, what I've been doing now is everything used to go through the village administrator.
Yeah,
But, my most recent budget request, I just sent it to everybody.
yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody on the public safety, the treasurer, the interim.
Well, you can't go wrong with that, probably.
Yeah,
Right.
carpet bombed everybody, somebody will figure out where it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
Out of, just for my edification, when you're talking big ticket items like a truck, even if it's a rescue truck, they're still 70, 80 grand.
Mhm.
Or even something more expensive, like a engine. Do you portion that throughout years and and budgets get made that's directed towards that and kept for, I'm sure on the engine, you don't buy it like every 20 years maybe, but on a,
30, but yeah,
okay,
yeah,
all right. So how does that work? Do you know?
we never had like a savings account for vehicles, ever. We've always been taking out loans.
Okay,
Boz and I talked about a capital outlay line in the budget, which I thought could be used like a savings account, but it turns out that was not accurate. So there's a different type of account within the village called a 400 account that we can save up.
designate
Yeah,
for, they used to call it surf accounts in my career, and this much money would, from the budget, every budget would go into this surf account every year.
Yeah.
And even though we, I don't know what the turnover was, I think it was 3 years we were keeping squads, but we wouldn't replace the whole fleet, we would replace 8 every year,
A third of them.
you know?
Mhm.
And I was just wondering if you guys do the same thing.
No, it's been loans. Yeah, the dollar amount that even that's been put into capital outlay, it would take me 85 years to save up for a truck.
Right,
Mhm.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but even money down would be helpful.
Yeah.
Is my thought.
Point of information here is the rescue, the village never bought,
They what?
the village never bought. The associations bought the first van. and-
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that information.
So it was never put on a budget line ever, but it's now 20 years that it's at this truck and it's like, okay, now vehicles are just.
Through the roof,
Mhm.
yeah,
We as an association can't.
of course.
can't sell enough bratwurst
Yeah.
to buy a new car.
Yeah, you could probably, you might be able to come up with 10%, maybe.
we don't-
Down.
Yeah, in fact,
But-
we did donate 10% of the
Oh,
vehicle cost.
oh, okay. But still, yeah, I understand. I was just curious as to how that worked.
Honestly, I'm trying to figure it out myself.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Scott?
I don't think so, unless you guys have questions.
Okay.
We're still having problems filling shifts. So a fourth officer would certainly be beneficial for that.
Is any of the problem filling shifts have to do with compensation?
Yes.
Oh, imagine that. Okay,
Yeah, and I just had a conversation with one of our part-timers. You know, and I'll use they, them. You know, had a conversation with one of our other part-timers who, again, for $20 an hour, you wanna come here and put yourself at risk when you're at $35 an hour at your real job.
Yep.
Or could work overtime for $50 an hour. So
Okay.
it's the life we live in.
Well, there's a balance.
Mhm.
'Cause I'm coming here tomorrow to bitch about my taxes.
Mhm,
There's a meeting here tomorrow
Mhm.
about the tax going up.
mhm,
And we'll see what they do with the mill rate.
mhm.
But anyway, if there's nothing else on fire or chief or police, I guess we can entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss the application of Dylan Nelson and not much of an update, but an update on the fire department promotional process investigation. Do I have such a motion?
I shall move to go into closed session.
Motion by Bloom, second by
Second.
Wyland. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Get out.
All right.
I'm waiting for you to tell me that you have a petition that you can't resign.
It's called a stop loss.
Yeah, now before you guys start, I do have to mute and stop the video on the Zoom, so. And you have the printout of Dylan?
I do it.
The letter?
On email.
Oh, well,
Thank you.
I have mine, so. Let me shut this and I'll stop that video.
Thanks for reaching out and contacting that
Oh,
person in Stevens Point.
absolutely, yeah. Gotta move forward one way or the other.
Yep, I don't like these dark clouds
Yeah.
looming over my head.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, with regard to closed session, applicant. How do we phrase this motion, Gary?
We don't recommend it, but how do we say it, right? I don't remember.
It's just the proposed applicant, was
We
not
can't
accepted.
Okay,
just not accept.
so the
it
one
because we
applicant
can't
that began the process, we're going to, not accept.
We need like an internal ID number for applicants that we can say applicant
Applicant.
102.
You could use DN, you could use initials or
Not even-
something.
You don't even do that, just say applicant under consideration was not accepted by the commission.
Okay, do you need that in the form of a motion?
Yes.
I so move.
Second.
Move Bloom and second Wyland. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
I'm not sure how,
you're gonna send the letter, you want me to send it?
I'll send you a template. How about that? I'm not sure how, and I'm asking for input here. I feel like I should inform the board in some manner as to the status, or, well, at least what I know, the status of this investigation process, and I'm not sure how to delicately do that while protecting, I guess it's public knowledge that there is an investigation and what it is of. And I'm wondering if you guys have any concerns with me explaining in the meeting tomorrow night, in the village board meeting, the same thing that I said tonight. You have a problem with that? Is that inappropriate?
No.
Okay,
I don't have a problem with that. I encourage it.
okay, all right. I mean, I just think transparency is probably the way to go.
He's
Okay.
back to us.
Agreed.
Right, so we can get these back to Scott.
So, just one last thing, Leo and Scott Drew are working on a draft for an online fire department application. But I thought Corey had some input as to how that could be, accessible and, submitted online,
Well, I mean,
or no?
I think whatever we end up choosing, it comes down to whether or not we have an administrator or somebody who can manage that, either the database or some type of web application or workspace.
Well, let me tell you what I think is coming. And maybe it won't happen right away, but in the fire department bylaws, they indicate that applications are received by the village administrator. So if we in fact tweak the fire department application to be able to submit it electronically, I think would be appropriate for those to get sent to the village administrator mailbox. But I'd almost like it copied to Jason's and my mailbox, so we know an application was submitted. We need Scott's input because he needs waivers and specific information available for him to be able to completely do his phase 1 and phase 2 background checks. So that's why we're asking for his input. I talked to Eric Saylor, and Eric Saylor, who is kind of an IT guru, indicated we have this issue with the support, the IT support for the village is actually contracted by Wood County IT department. And for us to be able to implement an application on our village website that can be submitted electronically, we would need some help. And Eric Saylor assures me that he's got contacts within that IT, Wood County IT division, that he can assist us in making that happen. So I think that's the long run. And now we're getting them, we did disable the electronic submission part because they were going to nowhere.
Right.
They're going to no one's emails address. But we're fairly certain we didn't miss anybody.
But I have on here now, after the, you know, your name, address stuff. Acknowledge waivers and requirements, please check indicating agreement as a part of the background check conducted by the Port Edwards Police Department. I blank applicant agree to and or waive rights to disclose the following. Level 2 deep background check collecting personal histories, including educational, military, legal, criminal, financial, family, marital, medical, AODA, and civic. Permission to contact present and previous employers and references. Driver's license check, DL number. Physical exam paid for by the Village of Port Edwards and agree to waive confidentiality regarding results. Did I miss anything?
I don't think
I
so.
hope not.
You scared me right
Yeah.
out of the line.
I think that was all on that DOJ.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I got it off the DOJ
Yeah.
form, I got it off the old
Yeah.
form, I got it off the form from Chippewa Valley Tech that they use for their, I don't know if you've ever seen that, but Chippewa Valley Tech Fire Program has a clearinghouse for fire applicants in the northwestern part of the state. And they have a part of their website that has minimum hiring standards for all the fire departments that are part of that consortium, including Rapids and Stevens Point. And so it lists the nuts and bolts basics that you gotta have to even turn the application in for review. US citizen, 18 years of age, driver's license, EMT basic, fire one, the usual stuff. But it varies pretty widely between the big city, IAFF, NFPA, full-time departments, the paid on call part-time departments, and the volunteers. But it was really interesting to see in this one, laid out in this one 2 or 3 page website, what like, I don't know, 15 or 20 different fire departments ranging from towns the size of Port Edwards on up expect from their applicants. This is what, before you even want to fill out an application, this is what you gotta have.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we, when Scott gets a chance, I know he's bogged down with stuff right now, but he'll review and work with you on that some more.
So did you
And-
say this, Eric? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, did you say this Eric Saylor is going to get us an online application?
Well, he said that he thinks he can facilitate the IT support that the village currently gets of our website, which this application is on one of the windows.
Should I
That,
send them a digital?
Do we know
Might as
what
well.
we pay for that website?
I don't know what the village pays.
That's our IT provider now is the county. So I think there was some kind of a snafu because like the website was managed
Separately or
separately
something.
or something, but
Maybe that was what it was.
But-
Wasn't one of the interns that Oz had running the website for the village? I thought.
I don't know.
not sure. But
Okay.
if Eric can't twist enough arms at the county, I should be able to, Eric can grab one arm, I'll grab the other.
Are we required to
Maybe.
use them?
Well, we're contracted with them now, but I don't think that there'd be any, if Eric had access and had the capabilities, I think he could do it, but I don't know IT stuff, so. Says the guy sitting next to the Zoom.
Anyway, it was an offer for assistance from Eric Saylor,
Okay.
which I'll take any day. Especially IT stuff. But, we're far from finishing the draft anyway. Plus, we're gonna run it by Jason and his guys, the application part. We just wanted to include the waiver portion, so we don't get bogged down in the middle of the
Yep.
process waiting for a signature or something.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, so we'll work on that next month again too.
Do you want me to send Eric a copy of this draft?
Nope,
Not?
nope,
Okay.
we're not done with it yet.
Okay. Tell me what you wanna do with it, and I'll do it.
Okay.
There may be some changes coming in the future too. I keep getting emails about some form of legislation that's up for vote here shortly. I can't remember what they call it, motion 30. Has to do with differentiating requirements for volunteers versus full-time
Oh, interesting.
career firefighters. I
Okay,
have
Okay.
no idea what's
That'd
gonna
be
come of that.
interesting.
is that
Let's-
legislation or is that an administrative rule out of, trade, industry, labor, and human relations?
I think it's state legislation working in conjunction with, the educational department.
Okay,
That'd be good to know.
Yeah.
Any other commissioner comments? Corey, Leo, Andrea, Gary? No? Okay, next meeting date, what do y'all think of 10/2 at 5:15?
let's see. Calendar. It's okay by me.
5:15.
5:15?
5:15. You know, it's that special Corey rule, you know.
I discovered that I had little charges as a driving student.
Oh, just,
And she reported.
All right.
reported-
Let's, I'm gonna call this meeting adjourned before Leo gets off on
Yeah.
6:16. We're adjourned.